Everyone has pet cards, the one card they like to put in all of their decks, whether it be brewing around it in constructed or all of your commander decks just have that one card or that one random non-synergistic piece that you just like to throw in there because when you cast it, it gives you the good old fuzzies. But when it comes to that one card that you include, there actually is two cards or really two effects that I will include in every single commander deck that I can put it into, regardless of synergy or not. These are two effects and two cards that I think just add to a whole new depth of play that I think every commander game only stands to benefit from, or at least maybe in my experience. Of course, everyone is gonna come up with a situation where it's not gonna help. You're gonna come up with a pod where this would have been the single worst thing to throw into there. But I think that when it comes to enhancing your games of commander, improving your games of commander, or just adding another dimension, this video is for you. If you're looking to add that spice, I think I might just be able to give you something nice here. Now, this all stemmed from a tweet by Shivam here. Every commander deck should have one card that doesn't synergize with anything else, but is in there because you think it's cool and you want to play it somewhere. Now, I didn't exactly follow the rules of this, but I had a situation where something like this does line up for me. Now, I want to go through some of these responses first and foremost. So Paliano, the High City in my Marchesa deck, it literally does nothing. Yeah, this is a card that, like, if I remember off the top of my head, it's one like you have to draft it and choose a color. It's part of like the conspiracy sets. And then I put a card from Homelands in every deck. Shout out to Renewal. Sacrifice a land at sorcery piece, search your library for a basic land card, put it into play. This does not count towards your one land play. Blah. Shuffle. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Golden card. Sacrifice a card. Sacrifice a land that maybe you're not using anymore, or it's like a bad land or something. Then get a basic of a color that you need. Maybe in a multicolor deck, you're trying to fix into a third color or a fourth color, and then you draw a card. This card's goated. Thraben used like just one useless card. And then Alex is like, shouldn't this be every card? I swore the whole point of the format is to play dumb pet cards we can't play anywhere else. You and I understand this, but we've seen, everyone else do something else. We got to ease people in. And I mean, this is part of the whole, data aggregation of the format, websites like, different EDH aggregation websites where you look at like the top most played cards, look at a commander. EDH Rec is the website I'm thinking of, and then you just add all those cards that are like most played, and there you go, you built a deck. It's not their fault. They're trying to do a positive thing for the format, but ultimately websites like that don't really do anything positive in the long term because they take away a lot of the deck building for it. The Amazonian here talks about the mirror march in every red deck and Sword of Fire and Ice in there. And so there's a lot of cool options there. But one effect, the first effect that I think every commander deck should have. Okay, so this isn't, and this honestly does work with it a little bit. The problem is this effect is kind of universal because it was designed for multiplayer Magic. It's the Monarch. And so yes, not every deck is gonna synergize with the Monarch. You may not have effects that add to the Monarch anymore or give you back the Monarch. And of course you may be a combat focused deck, in which case you are more synergistic with the Monarch. You will always technically be able to get it back and all that stuff. But I think the Monarch adds a really interesting just appeal to every single game. It forces action. And I think this is the thing that a lot of commander players unknowingly suffer from or don't realize that they don't like their commander games because of this. A lack of action. And the Monarch forces this because it's this simple little token. I think many players build their commander decks around combat, or at least casual to mid-level pots will have an engagement around combat. They want to attack. And the Monarch helps with that because it's like, hey, if I attack you, I get this Monarch back. And it's not just I'm attacking you to be mean. I'm attacking you because I want that Monarch back. And then, oh, they have that Monarch. Well, the person that you took the Monarch from may not necessarily be next in the turn cycle. They may have been second in the turn cycle. And so that next person after you is like, okay, now I'm going to attack you because you have the Monarch. And so other people are engaging with each other. Of course, again, this was made for multiplayer Magic, right? This was made to create engagement, whether or not in a draft environment or just for Commander. This was, and we have so many cards. I mean, heck, some of the Lord of the Rings cards came in with it. Where's Aragorn? Aragorn should be in here somewhere. That's the Monarch card Where is Aragorn? Aragorn, there's literally an Aragorn that like makes, I mean, look, a 4th era Lingus, like I'm just going to use this as an example here. I literally, maybe I'm just being blind here, but I love the Monarch for that. And I love it as a one of that random piece that, heck, if you draw it early, let's mess up the game a little bit. Let's create some engagement. And that's what I like about it. Because again, at a lot of mid-level to casual pods, a lot of players are going to be able to just play around this and try and grab it back and forth. It creates that engagement. And the card that I specifically like to bring in almost all my decks, recently printed as well, originally in Conspiracy, Murders at Karloff, Tales of Middle-earth had it as well. Throne of the High City. Land, you tap it for colorless, so that's good. It's not like a quote-unquote useless land. It's going to provide you mana. Sacrifice Throne of the High City, you become the Monarch. So it's a one-time effect. It is not an effect that's repeatable and abusable traditionally. Obviously, if you have graveyard reanimation effects, cards that allow you to play lands from the graveyard, then you're going to be able to bring this back and just pay 4 mana and grab it again. But 4 mana and sacrificing a land is a pretty fair effect to introduce chaos. And that's what I love about it. You become the Monarch, right? And then you just say, hey, go ahead, attack me, take it. I'll let you attack. And then this is where you create that subtle politic. Like, hey, you know what? I don't need this monarchy. I'm getting a lot of heat. I'm gonna let you have it. But when I let you have it, I'm going to need a little bit of goodwill. I'm going to need a little bit of this or whatever. It creates that politic and it gives you that bargaining chip that you need to advance the game in a different way. It creates a conversation. It creates a movement forward. And I will always include Throne of the High City in every single commander deck that I can put it in. This card's a classic. It honestly, it's a card that makes me truly happy because of the level of engagement that it kind of brings about. Now the next card that I want to bring up may not be as positive in many folks' minds. The Undercity. Okay, now this isn't exactly dungeons, right? The dungeon you need to move through constantly, right? The Undercity. Right? You need to venture into the Undercity, right? Now the dungeon card's a little bit different. I like the Undercity specifically. I don't like the dungeon. I like the Undercity. Now the Undercity, I have a lot of experience with this through Pauper. There are whole Pauper decks built around moving through the dungeon. And we've seen many constructed formats have banned cards from the initiative because Turbo Initiative is too powerful. Specifically because if you go down the left side here, your first room in the dungeon, we're playing a board game at this point, folks, lets you look for a basic. That's great. All commander decks, generally speaking, are playing a basic. You put 2/1/1 counters on a creature. That's great. Make a creature larger. If you have 1/1 shenanigans, maybe you're playing the Mothman. That's great. And then you can go to creature. You know, in EDH, you probably don't want to do the trap mode. In constructed, you're going for the trap mode. Target player loses 5 life. That's 1/4 of someone's life in a constructed environment. You're probably going down that right. But gold is great. That's a great politicking tool. You can point something and be like, hey, that thing, I hate it, but it's not attacking me. I'm throwing that somewhere else. There's no way that singular synergistic piece you have that we can't find the removal for, that's not being allowed to do whatever the hell it wants. That thing is attacking and I need you or you to block that thing and kill it. That's what I can do. There you go. That's how we move through the Undercity. And then draws you a card. If you go through the other way, create some fixing in the treasure. Scry 2 if you're behind. Create a 4/1 black skeleton creature. And then Throne of the Dead 3. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library. Put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield with 3/1/1 counters onto it. It gains hexproof until the end of the turn. And then you shuffle it and put it away. That way you get a creature and then your opponent can't respond to that creature on your turn. The hexproof is key. That means that they don't get the value necessarily. You know, let's say you're player 1, player 3 and 4 in the pot are still going to be able to, if they have untapped mana, still gain advantage from that and be able to deal with it after. But player 2 next in the pot next to you, it's gonna have to wait till their turn to answer that. So there are ways that if you are in a certain order in the pod to be able to take advantage of that, something like that really well. Other than that, it's like a soft tutor, right? It's a soft tutor that you have to work for. It's a tutor that honestly, if y'all are mad at this, the amount of effort that you have to get through to go through the Undercity, if y'all are mad at this, I don't know what to tell you, right? Whole types of value at all levels. And the card that I specifically like to go through with is Dungeoneer's Pack. Now, Dungeoneer's Pack, again, comes in tapped, folks. There's no way you're mad at this. This comes in tapped. 3 mana for color, so you can go in any deck. Pay to sacrifice the pack. It's not a repeated effect. You take the initiative, gain 3 life, draw a card, create a treasure token, activate only as a story. So creating the treasure token kind of makes this only cost 1, get a mana back, but then when you go into the initiative, you get a basic. So this is pay 2 mana, sacrifice this, draw a card, gain 3 life, get a treasure, get a basic. That's pretty good. That's a really good effect for 2. And now everyone's going to be fighting for it because everyone wants a basic. Everyone wants a basic. Everyone wants to goad something. Everyone wants to scry to get a little tutor, do whatever, right? These type of effects create that communal action-oriented environment. It prevents the non-action that a lot of commander games that people are frustrated with can devolve into. And again, it's only a one-of card. You're not playing tutors for this. You're not getting hyper synergistic with it. You're increasing the chance that this is just going to happen randomly. And in those games where it does happen randomly, it creates that environment of action. Action is key. People doing things are fun in the game of Magic because then you are forced to then interact with those people doing things because you want to do the things that they're doing. And it's pretty easily accessible to do the things that they are doing as well. Just attack them. Get more creatures, attack them. This is combat oriented. Attack your opponent, get involved, get interactive. I love the initiative and the Monarch for creating interaction, specifically as a card that I think all commander decks should include at least as a one-of. I love including this in all my commander decks. Of course, if I get to a more competitive deck, maybe like a 9 or like a CDH 10, you're not including stuff like that, but the vast majority of my decks are in between like a 5 to like an 8. I would love to include these cards in all of them. The 8s, I'm kind of borderline on including them, but the 5 through the 7s, 100%, I'm including these 2 cards in every single one of my commander decks just to increase that randomness, that stochasticity, that just that balls to the wall fun that I think everyone is looking for in every single commander game out there. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What is that, 2 questions to Shivam's tweet. What is that one card that you include in your commander deck that may be a pet card that may not synergize with the rest of your deck, but you just love including in every commander deck? And what do you think about the 2 cards that I listed? You may have a problem with the Monarch, you may have a problem with the Undercity. What about the 2 cards that I mentioned? They're pretty harmless, I think, and they're pretty easily included. They provide that passive value that's just really good. I don't think your opponent's gonna be too mad at it. And hey, if they answer it, if they destroy that land, if they destroy that artifact that comes in tapped, blame that person. Make them use that politicking tool and be like, hey, I was trying to give y'all some good pieces. I was gonna let you attack me. I have no creatures. I just wanted to create a good environment. They stopped that from you. They didn't want you to draw cards. They don't want to see us succeed. God did. No, okay. I'm not gonna make DJ Khaled memes in my Magic the Gathering videos. I promise. That was the only time. Okay. I just finished watching season 2 of Rhythm and Flow. That's why. Okay. That's why the man is on my mind. Regardless, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about these 2 cards, these 2 mechanics. Let me know what you think about Shivam's tweet originally as well. Just, I'm going into 2025 thinking about like the commander decks that I may want to build and how I want to improve certain ones. And I thought this was a great tweet, thinking about like the cards that just no brainer I always include in there.